Namaste. This is the third part in the series that I'm making on understanding Kundalini awakenings. I'll post the link to the other two parts in the description box below. In today's topic, I'll be talking about in how many different ways Kundalini expresses itself and why does it express itself in that particular manner. To understand the Kundalini process, we need to first understand how Kundalini creates the various levels of consciousness. Here in the picture, you can see a yellow dot at the top of the person's head. That is the Parabindu, and that is there in the Sahasrara chakra, that is the crown chakra. This Parabindu, it consists of all the pranic force that is there in the universe. So this one dot or one bindu, which is just a point, it has no dimensions. From this one point, the entire creation has emanated. Now there are two aspects to the creation. One is that which does not change, and one that is constantly changing. Shiva is one aspect of the universe which is changeless. Shakti keeps changing. Shiva and Shakti, they exist within us. That is, we contain an aspect which is changeless, and we contain certain aspects which keep changing. They are temporary stages. There's a lot of movement in those aspects. The thing within us which does not change is our individual consciousness. We derive our individual consciousness from the universal consciousness. If you think of the universal consciousness as a big sea, then we are one drop of that consciousness. We are a very minute aspect of that vast consciousness. And that individual consciousness, it lies within us in the heart region here. That is the changeless aspect of ours, which is constantly watching over us as we move from one lifetime to another lifetime. The other aspects of us are undergoing changes. So, when I talk about prana, prana is that aspect of the universe which changes. The universal consciousness, as individual consciousness, does not change. It was ever present and it will always be there. The thing that changes is the prana and the various emanations of prana. So here the Parabindu, it is full of pranic force. So this pranic force, while it is descending downwards, from this area to this area, you have the causal realms, because that area, it points out to our causal body. And there are many causal worlds there. From this point, which is called Makara, which is the upper part of Agya Chakra, till this area, you have the subtle realms. Those are the astral realms. From this point onwards down to the root chakra, the physical dimension comes into existence. And at every chakra level, we have an element. The space is the element in the Vishuddha chakra. Air is the element in the Anahata chakra. Fire is the element that is present in the stomach chakra. Then it is water in Swadhisthana chakra and earth in the root chakra. So this way we have the five elements which constitute this physical dimension in the physical body. We are living in the physical dimension. So all these various worlds, these various dimensions come from that point, that dot. When it bursts forth, it creates all these various dimensions at various levels. And as it is descending downwards, this pranic force, it is coming into lower levels of consciousness. The vibrational level is coming down. And ultimately, in a human body, this pranic force comes down to the root chakra and it sleeps there in the Muladhara as the 3.5 coil Kundalini. So here you can see that there is a lot of pranic force that is descending downwards. But there is another force called the yogic force. Yoga simply means union with God. This is the return journey upwards. So when the human body is formed, it is designed in such a way that the pranic force descends from the higher realms to the lower realms, creating many different worlds, many different dimensions, many different creatures, many different material objects. It creates the entire universe at various levels. And when it reaches down to the root chakra, the remaining force just it coils and sleeps at the Muladhara. Now the return journey, the yogic force. One force is the descending pranic force. As long as the person is active out, this force will be downwards. And the other force is the yogic force, which is the ascending force. In a normal human, this upward moving force is very minute. This is the force that connects a human to God. But this is not readily accessible by a person until he gets into sadhanas, until he gets initiated by gurus, until he undergoes a spiritual awakening. This yogic force is not at his disposal, and he is not even aware that this force exists in his body. So, when a person is working in the external world, he is very worldly. The yogic force, which is moving upwards, which will allow him to realize his self, that is flowing very minutely. In this picture, the changeless aspect of each one of us, that is the Atman or the individual consciousness, resides in the heart region. That is the only changes aspect within us. Remaining aspects at various levels are all subject to change. So they are forms of Shakti, just that they are at the lower consciousness level or sometimes they're at the higher consciousness level. So the various planes of existence are just the expression of Shakti. And all these various planes of existence are present within your body. In this picture, you can see the various worlds that are present in a human body. At the root chakra, which is the Muladhara chakra, that is where our Kundalini resides. But beneath that, you have seven worlds: Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Rasatala, Mahatala, and Patala. Here reside many lower level entities, and these chakras belong to animals too. So the animals have these chakras. The Muladhara chakra is the highest chakra for an animal. Once that opens up, then the next lifetime it is born as human. In these lower realms are many negative dark entities, and these dark entities can be born on earth. And when they're born on earth, they create a lot of destruction, especially mass destruction. In the same way, many beings which are there in the higher realm also can be born on earth. When they're born on earth, they bring their unique gifts, their abilities, their talents, and they help earth to evolve further. So, earth is a place where both the dark and the light come together. Now, above Muladhara, you have the chakras Swadhisthana, Manipura, Anahata, Vishuddhi, Agya, and Sahasrara. And these have their own worlds. Like Muladhara chakra is Bhuloka, which is the third dimensional world. Then comes Bhuvarloka, Swarloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Maharloka, Satyaloka. Satyaloka is in the Sahasrara chakra. So at various level you have many different dimensions and many different worlds. And these are all the expressions of Shakti. She has created many worlds, many dimensions, many beings. The creation that we know is very little. The creation as such is very vast, and it's all her expression. And these are things which are changing constantly. If we need to connect to our source, we should focus more on that which is not changing rather than that which is constantly changing. That is why, when you're in a spiritual path, we need to turn inwards. The more we move within, the more we evolve, we come into touch with the changeless aspect within us, our individual consciousness. And this individual consciousness alone can give you the enlightenment that we seek. To reach this individual consciousness, what we need is the yogic power and not the pranic power. Pranic power moves outwards. For example, in the picture here, say the individual consciousness is in the blue area. From there, our journey is coming outwards. As we are moving outwards, Shakti is creating many layers around our individual consciousness, starting with the bliss sheath, the intellectual sheath, the mental sheath, the emotional sheath. Both are called the Manomaya Kosha, then the Pranic sheath, and then the physical body. So these are the coverings that are there over our individual consciousness. The pranic force is moving outwards. Now we have to turn inwards. When we turn inwards, we go in the reverse order. So the first thing to get activated is the pranic sheath. This only happens after we gain mastery over our physical body. That is, when we have some level of control over our desires, we are more in tune with the body, we understand our emotions better, we have the ability to process at least part of the emotions, we exhibit a level of wisdom. When we do these things, and we have the inherent or innate discipline, when we have these things, you are gaining mastery over your physical body. So the next step is gaining control over the pranic sheath. The Kundalini, when it creates various sheaths, especially the pranic sheath, here the prana flows through certain channels, energy channels called the nadis. These nadis in general are clogged because of our karmic residue, our behavioral loops, our personality, the way we think, the way we perceive, how we judge people. All these things are just blocks in these energy channels. And that is why we cannot feel pranic energy moving through our uh, pranic sheath. But when we are into a sadhana, we are focused totally on that aspect of ours which is not changeable, which is constant, which is permanent, that is the individual consciousness. When our focus goes inwards, the yogic force increases in our body. So now the channel which was earlier very minor in flow, that is the ascending energy in your body, which was very minor in flow, now it expands. More energy is flowing through it. And when we do this practice for a very long period of time, we have a discipline and we stick to it, we generally undergo a spiritual awakening. The rule is simple: as long as you're looking externally and you think that the physical body is the only reality, the physical dimension is the only reality, there's nothing more to the world than what we see, then you are focusing on something that is constantly changing. You are not focusing on your individual consciousness. But once we understand that there is something within us which is continuing through all these changes, it has always been there, it will always be there. That there is an aspect within us which does not change. When we understand that and we go inwards, that is when the yogic force within us increases. And the other things follow, which will help us to get in touch with our individual consciousness. So the yogic force, it takes us inwards. It takes us to that aspect within us which has no change. The Kundalini, when it is creating the various layers within our body, it is moving from Sahasrara down into the root chakra. It creates knots at various levels of the body, that is in the pranic sheath. These knots, they keep the various bodies tight together. And breaking through these knots is the most difficult part of the process. Once these knots they open up, then Kundalini can uncoil. It can freely move up through the Brahmanadi and move through the spine and reach the Sahasrara chakra. When Kundalini is moving up the spine, the Kundalini snake, it is experienced as flow of energy. When this flow of energy is moving through the spine, at the various centers of the spine, the flow of energy starts moving into the side channels. The Kundalini snake, which is experienced like a flow inside our spine, when it starts uncoiling and moving upwards, when it reaches a chakra point is where minor nadis come and meet. It is like a junction place. So, from every chakra, you will see uh, minor nadis coming and meeting at that point. So, from every chakra, you will have many minor nadis emanating and moving on into various parts of the body. So, at Muladhara chakra, it moves into the channels that are connected with the Muladhara chakra. The sub channels, it moves into that while moving up. And when it moves up further, at this point also, it is moving into various channels, filling every channel with pranic energy. This is how the flow is felt when the Kundalini snake is moving up. So now the flow is moving away from the spine into the various nadis which are there in the body. At an advanced state in the Kundalini process, you will see that many nadis in your body are working, they are open, and the prana is flowing. So the pranic force, it energizes your various centers. And then it reaches the Bindu, which is there at the top, the yellow dot which you saw. This is the Bindu. This is the Bindu from which the entire creation emanated. So the entire pranic force from the base of the spine is moving upwards. It is moving upwards as yogic force. And here it is merging with the Parabindu. This can only happen when we are more focused on the individual consciousness. When the Kundalini energy is moving upwards, the flow, it opens up the chakras. Now, the lower six chakras are facing upwards. The Muladhara as such was facing upwards, but the remaining chakras, six chakras, now they turn upwards towards the Sahasrara, and the Sahasrara is facing downwards. So, this entire flow, which is required for the various sheets to be pierced, that process is now happening in the body. Apart from the sub nadis, which I just showed you, we have many minor nadis, many minor chakras throughout the body. When the energy starts working deeper, the channels are opening up, the pranic force will enter every small nadi in the body. Even the minutest chakra will start spinning in the body. So at the pranic level, the force is distributed as force lines, force fields, and the chakra points where there is a centripetal and centrifugal force working in the body. The journey inwards, Kundalini pierces through the various sheets. She energizes all the sheets, she activates them, and while she is moving up, that force is called the yogic force. This yogic force is the ascending force, and as we are ascending, the vibration level of the body is increasing. When we are undergoing this process, we experience Kundalini Shakti or Kundalini within us in various ways. On a journey back, when we are doing a lot of sadhana, the yogic force within us is increasing, a vibrational level is increasing. The ascending journey, it has its own experiences, and all these experiences are just different manifestations of Shakti in our body and mind. Is seen as light, color, experienced as movements in kriya, variations in breath, the various movements which we feel within our body, the states of immense love and bliss, electrical energy moving through us, electromagnetic field. So everything is just a different aspect of her within us. All these changes are experienced with us because when the yogic force is changing our vibrational level, we are ascending. There is a lot of changes happening with us at various levels, at the physical level, emotional, mental, psychic level, the spiritual level, the inner biochemical changes that are happening in our body, the various spiritual experiences we have, the way we perceive the world, the various miracles which are part of this process, our own observations, our own understanding, and those states which are beyond our intellective abilities. All these things, they form the entire gamut of the Kundalini experiences that one has when they're expanding to higher levels of consciousness. This movement of consciousness from a lower state to a higher state, that is a higher vibrational state, only happens when we focus on our individual consciousness, on the Shiva, the unchanging aspect within us. The more we are focused within, the more we will progress. As long as you're expending your energy too much into the external world, getting into unnecessary drama, unnecessary activities, and just expending all your energy externally, here you are just focusing on the various manifestations of Shakti, that which are temporary states, which are subject to constant change. As long as a person is living like this, their yogic power will not increase. To increase your yogic power, you have to cut out a lot of unnecessary activities from your life. Focus on that aspect within you which is changeless through sadhana. Thank you.